Welcome to MacroCode. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So we are going to proceed with our documents management system. So on our previous video, we were able to integrate our template. So as you can see, this is our template, our admin template. We have our system codes. You can see the system codes here, and you can actually create a new code. So if you go to our app, so you can see we have the list. So this is the list of the system codes. And here you can click a new, then you can add a new code. So let's say, for example, status. We'll say status. Then here, this status. Then you can say this is a document. We'll just say document status. And if you say add, then you can see here we have our date time. Then we were able to get the logged in user. So you can see here we just put in a breakpoint here. We are able to get you can see the user ID. So that is the session. If we proceed, then we'll get our app already added. So you can see this is the list of records that we've just added. The same case on system code details. You can add a new system code detail. You'll choose the gender, then you can say other. So this is the system code, then you can say here other. So if we say save, so that did not save. So let's just check why. If we go to system code details and create, we just put in this, then proceed and say add. Then you can see if you come here, we have created by ID is null. So we just proceed and do this. So our model state is invalid. So you can say created by ID is still null. So we have here, so we have the value here, and let's just confirm. So we have the created by ID, modified by system code. We have that removed. So I think we can check on that later. So let's just proceed. So I want us to check on one thing. So we have our system codes list. So you'll see why it's not adding. Then we have our system codes. Then we have our users. So we have the users here, and we also have the form. So you can see this is our form. All these here is the form. Then you also have roles. So this is the roles. You can see our list of roles, and you can add a new role. You can say this is engineer. Let's say this is engineer. Engineer, you can do your engineer. If you say save, then you can see we have our engineer here. So this is the record that we just have here. So that's first thing. So today I want us to work on something. I want us to first add departments. So I want us to add another section. So if you go to models, so you can add departments. So we are going to add a class for department. So I'll say this is department. So here on department, you can have various fields. We'll have various fields. We'll do ID. You can see we don't need all this here, so you can just remove this. So you have the department name and the description. Then we can have this as user activity. So we have our user activity. Then for the department, we need to add it to our application DB context. So I'll go to data, then application DB context. We can add it here. I'll just come here and I can add this here. I'll do here departments. Then I'll also want to add clients. So I'll just add another model. I'll just add here. Then we'll call it clients. Then for the client, I'll need some properties. So I'll say int. I'll have here, let's say code. I'll also add this. I'll say name. So the client code will be something like abbreviations of the client. Then you can say address. This should be address. Then I can take the phone number of the client, and then this is and do your int. Then you can say phone number. So we can just do your string. Let's just do string. Then here will be phone number. Phone number. That is our phone number. Then you can do an email address, and do your email address. So that is our email address. Then we can also do status. So you can do your status ID. So this status ID, do your ID. This status ID, we can make it to be a foreign key, and this should be an int. I'll just remove this here. I'll do this as int. Then I'll say this should be a foreign key from we can say system code ID. Then this will be status. I'll just do status. So after doing that, we can so this is our client. So these are some of the properties that we have here. We have the code, we have the address, name, and all those details that you see. Now I want us to go and have these on our so let's just go here, go to application DB context. Then you can also have our clients. So that will be our clients. We've added all the properties that you want. So we have address, name, phone number. We can even have another thing here called contact person, and say contact person. That is our client. Then on our department, I think we can add something here. We can do here the code, and say this is a code, and then you can remove this description. You don't need it. So that's one thing. So we have the code, name, and the description. Now there is one thing I also want us to do. So we can have here. So we have here departments and clients. Now another thing that I want us to do is I want us to, on our application, I want us to add our audit table. So the audit table will be tracking all the entries and all the changes that someone will be doing. For example, the audit trails. Whenever we create anything, I want us to do the audit to track the changes. So I'll create a model here, and I'm going to call it audit trail. Let me call it audit trail. Then on this audit trail, I'll be having some fields. So let me just have the ID. Then I can have the user ID. This user ID is actually a foreign key. So I'll do public, then application user. Then we should be having user there. Then the next thing is I want to have here is I'll say string. Then you can say here audit type. So we'll have the audit type. You can have the table name. Have the table name. Then you can have here. So let me just remove this. You can have you can say the timestamp. A timestamp, that's fine. Then I'll also want us to store in case you modify something, which these will be nullable. So in case you modify something, then we want to get the old values. So I'll call these old values. In case you modify something, then we archive the old values. Then we can also have here, you can say this is new values. So we'll have our new values. Then you also have our affected columns. So in case you do something, then we want to track also the affected columns. So I will do here, say this is affected columns, affected columns. Then we can do, we can store a primary key of the record that you inserted, deleted, or even updated. So you'll say here primary key. So this will be my audit trail. So this is my audit trail table. Now for the, this is my audit trail table. So you have your primary key, affected columns, new values, all values. So this, then I can just go to our application DB context and we can have our table. So this table of ours will be our audit trail table. It will be tracking all the changes that someone has done to our application. So you know what we need to do next. We just come here. Then we'll say new. Sorry, not even that. We'll just go to tools. Then you get package manager console. Then you need to add the migration here. So I'll just zoom this. So on this section, I'll say add the migration, and I can say audit trail updates. If I just add migration, then our migration file will be generated and we should proceed to update the database. So if you're watching our video and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Comment down below, tell us where you are watching us from, and we'll be happy to engage. So our migration file has been generated, and let's update the database. So just type in down below where you are watching us from, and we'll be happy to engage and even comment based on your feedback. Now, as you can see, we have our migration file. So let me remove this. We have the audit trails table created. We have the clients, departments, and we have the modified by and all this. So what I want us to do, I want us to come back here, and I want us to do update database. Just do update database. So we just press enter. Our database will be updated with the new tables. So let's just wait and see. As you can see, all those commands running there. If you go to our database, you should actually see new columns. So you'll see here we have the departments. I mean the new tables. You have the departments, you have clients, you have system code details, and also you have system codes. Then so the tables that you have added, you have the audit trails table that you've also just added. Now, if you go back here, we now need to do something. We now need to generate, I'll just come back here. I want us to generate, we scaffold the departments. I'll just come to new scaffolded item. Then MVC controller with views using entity framework core. So I'll just pick the model. So the model will be department, then application DB context, then departments. Then I'll just click OK. Then I'll have my departments controller and views generated, ready for use. So that's a simple way on how you can generate the code and how you can use it. So you can see this is our department controller already generated, and then we have our views. So if you go to views here, you'll see we have departments. You can create. We have delete. We have details. We have index. So another table that we just created was a client. So I'll also scaffold it. Then use scaffolded item, MVC controller with views using entity framework core. Then I'll select client model here. It will give me the controller name. Then I'll just add. So that will give me the list of, as you can see here, it will generate my list of clients and also generate the views. So let's just wait. So if you're watching our videos and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing, like and comment down below. Tell us where you are watching us from. So as you can see here, we have our client controller. Then down here we have the clients. So this is the clients view. We have create, delete, details, index, and even edit. Now, if you go to our shared layout, we now have, I'll just go back here, and on our navigation menu, we can now introduce a section for clients and departments. So for the administration, I'll just come and add here a section for departments. So let me zoom out. So here we'll call these departments. Then these will be index, and I call these departments. So this is something like a setup, so we don't need to have this here. But for something like for something like clients, we'll have a different section. So I'll just copy what you have here, and I'll just do that. Then you can say this is clients. Then you can just service as all clients. Then here we'll be having so you can say ASP action controller. Here we can say clients, and then we can say ASP action. Can do here index. So if we launch our app, we should be able to access those two things that we've done. So we've done clients, but now we can also do, so let's just go back here. So you can see on departments, we now have departments, and if we click on it, you can see we are able to access it. Clients, we have clients here. So if I click clients, it is also able to load, but you can see we can't tell, so because of these sections here. Remember also, we had security and we had audit trails. When we click on it, it was not going anywhere. So for audit trails, we are not going to allow, so I'll just create a controller here. So let me just scaffold. Let me scaffold, but I want us to remove anything. So let's say scaffold, new scaffolded item. So I'll show you how you can generate you are going to generate audit trails without having, so let's say audit trail. So let's scaffold, but we are not allowing users to create. So audit trail should be based on user activity. Now, so let's just proceed and create our controller. So I'll have two things, maybe index and so on this controller of ours now that has been created, I'll only want to have, so I'll remove the other actions. I just remain with, so let me just minimize this. I'll remove all the rest. I just remain with two, which is index and details. And if you go to the views, I'll also remove edit, delete, and create. We are not creating audit trails. So I'll remain with details and index. Now, if I go to layout, I'll now link my audit trails actions here. The controller, then I say, what is the name of the controller? Let's just rename it here. And I can have this. So here you should be using actually controller. So I'll just say here audit trails. Then I can say here SP action. I'll do index. So this is index. So we'll be having our audit trails. So we launch our app, we can now be able to access the audit trails, and we should be good to modify these particular sections now. So if we just go there under audit trails, if I click, telling us audit trail, these should be audit trails. So if I update, go back. So this happens whenever you mistype the controller name. So if I just update again and go back, you can see I now have my audit trails here. Now, what I want us to do, we can start with the clients one. So this is the clients. So for the clients, I'll go to our index page. Remember we had updated our app yesterday to provide a data table. So you see this style. I'll just copy all this here. Then go to clients index. Then I'll paste it here. Then here I'll say add new client. So that's fine. Then here I'll also do div. So I'll try to close. Let me try to zoom it. I'll try to, sorry. So I need actually to copy this alone. This one. I'll try to close our divs. So ensure that the divs are closed from here. So we just minimize this. You can see it's closed. Then you can say this is clients. So I'll just remove this. And our edit actions, we can also pick from our system codes. So you can see we have this. Go to index. I'll update it here. Then I'll also pick this. The good thing of this is once we have our layout set up, then we'll be just borrowing what we have as we proceed. So if we just say, so this one will name it to clients. These will be clients. So if we just update this, you can see this is how our page now looks like. And we have our email address. You can see here, you can also change, go to our client model. Then you can say, you can do here display. Then you can have, say a client code. You can say here client name. Let's say your address. You can remove this. Let me zoom. You can remove this. We can have this as phone number. Then contact person. And this is contact person. You can also have email address. Then you can have your status and say this is status. So client status, whether they are active or not. So if we relaunch that, then we'll be having some changes now on our app. So let's just relaunch. And as you can see on our clients, you can see now client name, client code, it's actually reflecting here. Then, so another thing is, if we say new, you realize this is how our form looks like. So it looks boring. So let's make it adopt our style. So we'll go to, so here you can go to system codes. Then we'll borrow what we have. So you see this is the page. So I'm going to borrow these styles here. So I think we had done some updates. So I'll copy from the form. Then I'll go to clients, create. Then I'll paste it here. So here I'll name it to add new client. Then I'll try to close this div. So I'll remove this list here. Then remember we don't, so this fine. I'll say add new client. I thought it has given us the, and I don't know if we had added, yeah, there's something thing we missed here. So, but let's just complete this, then I show you what we missed. So here I'll copy this and I'll try to close the divs. So there we go. This is not required. So here we are saying add new client. So here I'll need MD. I'll put this in a row. I'll say this is div class row. Then I'll close it, and I can have this here. Then I can just format it. Let me remove this. Then here, this one is not. It's actually inside the form. So you should put it inside here. So you remove one. Then here we can do MD6. I want to have 2 columns per row. So I'll just do that. Do that. So when you are adding a client, you don't put in a status. So it should automatically assign a status. So I'll just remove that. Then another thing is the button here. So you can borrow what we had on the codes. So this is the style for the button section. And if we go to clients create, I'll just paste it here. Then you can say add new client, add client. So this is our form. So you can see how the form looks like. So we have add new client. Then we are expecting the code, name, address, phone number, contact person, email, and we have the button. So if we update this, you'll see how our form changes. So you can see we have an issue here. Before address, we have this is a problem. And if we update, then you should be having 2. You can see this contact person is still, we did not change that, which is here. So then if we update, then we'll have our form. You can see our form now. This is the client. Then there is something we missed. Now on our client model, we missed the user activity. So we need to update that to include the user activity. So I'll say here user activity, and we say this user activity has these models properties. You have the created on, created by, modified on, and modified by. So this tracks the activity of the person doing anything on that particular record. So if I just do that, we need to update our database. I'll just come here and say NetCode package manager console. Then here I'll zoom and say add migration. Then I'll say here client updates. Then press enter. Then our client's update will be done. So if you're watching our video for the first time and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. You can also tell us where you are watching us from. So as you can see here, our migration file has been generated. And you can see it is adding these fields created by, created on, created by ID, modified on, and all this. So the next thing on our line is to just do update database. Then press enter. So our database will be updated with the new columns. So once we have that, so as you can see, these are SQL statements that is running here. So don't worry much. So if you go to clients on create, so whenever you create a client here, I'll remove this binding. Then we are left with the clients. Then I can, so for this I'll comment it for now, but I'll show you how we are going to return it. Let me just say here, or I can just, let's say here, this is, let's call this, if this is not null. but I'll show you how we are going to use is model state. But now here I'll say dot created on, then we have a timestamp, then we have clients. We are going to actually use view models here so that you see how we use that. Then you have created by. Here we said we are going to do user dot get ID. So I'll just say that. So this will give us the user ID, and this should be created by ID. So these status we don't need it here. Now remember we have a status ID. So for every client that we insert, we should be having a status. So what do we need to do? So let's create our client statuses. So we said we are not coding our options, that is the drop-down options. And this is now where you see how it is going to be practical. So here on system codes, I'll create something called client status. Client status. Then I'll say this is client status. Client status. So if I save this, then I need options. So I'll go to system code details and add new. Then I'll choose client status, and I say here the first status will be active, and say active. Then I'll say this is active. Then I'll save. So yeah, so we need to work now on our system code details because we need it. It was not saving. So let me just do away with this. I'll say here if it's not null, it's not null. Then here I'll put this here. So let me just do that. Then if we just proceed, so let me just wait for it. I'll come here and say system code details, add new, choose client, I'll say active, and then this is active. Then if I say save, you can see we have active here. Then I'll also add another one and say inactive. I'll say this is inactive. So if a client is inactive, I'll save it. So we have two statuses now for a client with for client status. Now I want us, when we create a client, if you come here to clients, every time you create a client, you must provide a status, and automatically that client will be active. So you can say active client. So active client status. So you should get a status for active client status, that is ID. On this table for clients, statuses are not stored as text. We are storing them as, it's a status ID is a foreign key. You see this one? This one is a foreign key. So I'll just come here and say await underscore context, then dot status. Here I'll say system codes details, then dot include, I'll say x dot system code, then I'll say dot where, I'll say x equals to x dot code equals to, I'll say code, our code should be, so if you go to system codes details, I want the active status, so our code should be active. Then I'll say, and you can have many statuses, you can have many statuses for active. So to separate and get the exact one that we want, I want the, we'll say and x dot system code dot code equals to, I'll do this. So the good thing is to do what we call one line per rule. So I'll come here and do that. I'll do this. So here then I'll say here, I'll get the status for, that is, I want the exact status for client. So I'll say client status. I'll pick the code for client status. Then here I'll say .fast or default async. So this one will give me now the client status that is active. Then here I'll just come and say client ID, client.status ID equals to that.id. So you can see I now have that. So we just try to create a client now. We should be able to create a client. So I'll put here a breakpoint, then we see how it works. So if you're watching our video and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like, and comment down below. I'll just come here to clients. Then I'll say new client. Then I'll say this is macro. Then I'll say this is, let's say, macro. I'll say here macro code. Then I'll say here, I'll put in some numbers. I'll put in phone number. I'll say contact macro code, and this is the email. If I save add, you'll have our breakpoint here. But if you check on the active client status, you'll see it has pulled from the database, the code active, and the ID is 3, and it has also retrieved the system codes. So here, if we move up to here, you'll see the ID here is 3. So it will proceed and now save our, will save our client. So you can see our client details has been saved. So we have client code, macro name, macro code, address is that. Status, you can see it is displaying 3. But users don't understand 3. So that is only values that you are storing on the database. Now, to get this value here, we need to go back to our clients. And on index, I'll change this here. I'll say here variable. So this is clients. Then I'll do this is await. I usually like to ensure that everything here is awaited. Then here I'll say to list. To list async. Then I can do here await. This is clients. So you can see we've done here include status. So if you go to index page, we instead of picking here, we are picking status.id, but we should do description. So that's what we should be. We should display descriptions to users, so not IDs. So let's just launch and see how that looks like. If you go to our app, I'll just come here and say clients. Then you'll see we have our status now. So that is how it looks. So you can add another one. Say here, can say SAF. Say here SAF. Then you say here Safaricom. Safaricom. Then you put here some numbers. Then here you can say macro. Then we save. You can remove now breakpoint here. I'll remove breakpoint. We can add another client. You say Mat. Say Matunda Express. So that is our client name. Phone number. You can do here 7. Then here you can do contact person and save. Let's add some Eldoret. You can say this is Eldoret Express. Eldoret Express. Then I'll just do here this, then phone number, then macro, then I save. I'll add another one. I say juice, then we call this juice Tamo. Then we have a phone number, then we can save this. I'll also do here I'll say here chorus, Milas. Then I'll say this is a phone number. I'll do here, then macro code, then I'll just say save. So if you're watching our channel and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like, and also comment down below. So this is our form. So you can see we have a lot of clients. Then if you go to departments, we still also have a same problem. So you can see it doesn't look great. I'll just come back here on departments. So on index page, we can borrow what we have on clients. I'll just go to departments. Then on index, I'll replace all this here. And I call these departments. Then here I'll try to have a div. I'll say here div, and I can try to paste just to close our div tags. Then as you can see, we'll say add new, then we can have these as departments. So here I'll want the code name created on, created by. I don't need this modified on. I also remove it here. Then we can borrow the delete, edit from clients. These buttons here. So I can just come back on departments and I can replace this. Then also I can borrow the headers. These the headers. So I'll just proceed and update here. We just update that. Then this is our departments. So these are our departments looks like. So then we have we can create now a new department. But before doing that, if you go to, let's just update and see how it looks. You can see the list of departments, how it looks now. We have our data table. We have a code name created by, and you can come back here. So here I'll say created by ID. If we go to the model, you can say here display. You can do your display, then you say department code. Then you can do here department name. Then, so this is our model. So if we just relaunch it, then that will change the entire thing and we should be good to go. So if we launch that, so go to departments list. So this is the department code name, created on, created by, and all this. So if we click new, you see this how it looks. It looks boring. So we can remove and go to our created department created on create action. Then here we can borrow what we had done on clients. I'll just copy this section. So we are trying to make sure it follows our template standards. Then you can say create. You can call this add department. Then I'll just come down here, remove this, duplicate that, try to format it. It's not formatting. Yeah, I think it's because of this. If I format it, if you try to close the div, if it closes, then it's okay. I want this to be, so when you are creating, you don't need created by, modified on. all these should be added in the backend. So user should not be putting those details. So then here you can say add new department. So if you are watching our video and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So tell us where you are watching us from. So here, then what I'll do here, this I'll put this dev class I'll do here row. Then I can do, I'll close this here. I'll close it here. Then I can say here md6. So I can just have this. Then for our create action, we can borrow what we have here. I'll just come here and have this. Then I'll format. I'll also, let me just take the button instead of input. Then I'll say add department. So if you're watching our video for the first time and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. So if I just update, our form now should look better. So you can see this is how our form looks like. We have department code and department name. I'll just come here and say, we can say here admin, and you can say this is admin. Then if I just say add, so that's not adding. So go to our departments controller, and here I'll come here and say I don't need this. So we don't need to be selecting users when we are creating things. So I'll just remove this as well. And here you can see this model. I'll say we'll return this when we are using view models. But for now, let me just put something there. That. Now, I'll come there and departments. I can do, when it was created, we need to put the timestamp. So I'll stop this. Say date time. There we go. Then modified on, no, we need to do created by ID. Then this one we use the user. Then dot get user ID. So we have our service that gives us the logged in user. So you can see this is how it looks. So if we just proceed, we can now create a department from our forms. So let me just proceed here and say if we go to departments, I'll say add new. Then you can say let's call it procurement. So this is procure, and say pro Q. Then you can say this is procurement. Then if I add, you can see our departments. We have department, con department, and created on and created by. Created by is giving us a user ID, which is wrong. We should actually see the user is creating that. So if you go to our index page, that is department index page. So it's giving us created by, then it's giving the ID. Here we should say full name. So if we update that and update our app, then that should change to, you see, it changes to admin. You can add another department. You can say find IT, say IT information technology. So that is our IT department. You can create another one. We say finance, finance. Then you can also have another one. We say audit. and call this audit. Then we can also have store. Can have this as a store. Can also have a department called security. I'm just adding some values. You can see this is how our data now looks like. Now, I think we've added the clients and we've added the departments. Where is it? We've added the departments here. We added how many models today? So let's just go back here. If we go to application, we added departments, clients, and audit trails. Now, for the audit trails, I'll be showing you how we are going to go about that. But now, I want us to also add something else. So I want us to add another model. This model of ours is going to store folders. So we are going to call this class, then you're going to call it folder. So this model, we are going to call this folder. So it will be public int id. So here, you can see here we are going to have this. So I want us to remove this. So we are going to have a folder. Then I can just say user activity. So I want us to have a folder. I can say folder and do your code. We are creating a document management system. So I want us to have a section where we are going to create a folder code, the folder name, and the parent folder ID. So that means a folder can have a subfolder. So this will be folder. Then you can create kind of a parent folder and subfolder, parent folder and subfolder. So here that's taken into consideration, we can go to our application DB context, and then we can introduce that table here. So we need to manage folders. That's the first thing. So I'll just call these folders. So that's our table. It will be called folders. So then we can just do tools, package manager console. Then I'll just do ESLS. Then I'll say here client migration. Then I can call these folders updates. So if we just press enter, then it will create our folders file. Then once that is created, then I can update it. So I can do update database, then press enter. So once that is created, we'll have a folder, a table for folders. So let's just proceed and see. So there we go. So if we go to our database, we should see a table for folders. So where is it here? I'll just call, so you can see here we have the folder that we just created. So let's scaffold this as well. So I'll just scaffold, new scaffolded item, MVC controller with views. Then I'll just pull here, I'll say folders, and I can say folders, then add. So it will generate our code. So if you're watching our video and you haven't subscribed and you're a returning subscriber, or you haven't subscribed, just subscribe, like the video, gives it a thumbs up, and tell us where you are watching us from. So this is our index. So I'll just go to our layout, and just beside the clients, I can copy this here, and I'll call it I'll have here folders. Then I'll call this active. I'll call it active folders. So here I'll have folders, then that should be fine. So if I just launch our app now, we should be able to access the folders section. We've just created a section where we'll be storing folders. Sorry. So this is, let me close one browser. So you see we have folders here. If I click here, you can see we have index. But now I want us to ensure that we are able to have a good index page. So you can borrow from what we have under clients. I'll just go here and remove this. Then on the folders, the index, I'll paste this here. I'll call these folders. Then I'll say add new, that's fine. Say this is folders. Then I'll just have my div here. Then I'll close that. Then here, you can see here, I'll have, I don't need the modified by and modified on, so I'll just remove. I can also remove this here. So our edit and view, delete, I can borrow the headers from the other sections instead of typing. So for now, you'll find me more of copying some of the values that we had done. The good thing is we had gone through this. So I'll say this is created by. Then I'll also borrow the buttons here. So this is what I'm borrowing. So I'll just go back to folders and I'll replace this here. Now, parent folder, I'll want to display the name, and also created by, I'll want to display the full name. Then if you scroll here, we have the add new. These are also our folders. So if I just update our app, this will change, and you can see we have folders. We have code name, parent, created by, edit, view, and that. If you go to our model, you can say this is display name. You can do here. Folder code. Then you can also do here folder name. You can say here parent folder. You can say here parent. So you can have subfolders, and you can create actually a lot of them. So this table that we've designed, it allows you to create as many subfolders as you can. I mean. So let's just launch and see. Let me just. So we have this. I'll just come here and say folders. So if I say new, you see it is giving us this create, which is a boring thing. So let's just come here and copy what we have done. I'll copy this here. We are trying to align this to our folders. I'll come here and say this is it. And I'll say add new folder. Then I'll remove created by, created on, all this here. Then I'll just remove this as well. Try to close that. Then if I just click this, then it's closed. That's fine. Do this in our, put this in a div class row. Then I'll close this here. Then I'll say here this is all md6. Then I'll just paste this here, paste this. Now this is our form. If I update, our form should change from this to something different. So you can see we have our department. So we have the folder name, and even the parent folder. Now let's borrow from what we had on where is it? Fit. I'll just borrow this, and if we go to departments, let's go to, where is it? I'll go to folders, and I can have this here. I'll just do that, and I'll say this add folder. So then here, this will be add new folder. So that's should be the case. So go back, and you can see this is add new folder, this is add folder. So you can create a folder. So I want us to create a folder based on, so you can say here HR, can have a folder for HR. Then you can say HR policies. So you'll say HR policies. Now, but before even creating, we need to check something under folders. Under folders, when we say create, we don't need this. And here on parent folder for folders, we should check and display the name. I'll just go back here. Instead of doing ID here, we do ID then name. Then I'll also remove this binding. Then here also we need to do the same thing. I'll remove this, then here I'll say name. So once we have that, then here I'll still just do the same thing. I'll need to have created on. I'll just stop this. Date time, then created by. We'll do a created by ID. Sorry, I'll do user dot get user ID. So here I'll just do using services. That's fine. Then here I'll just for now, let me just don't use that. I know it will not allow. So then also I'll need to, we'll be using the view models. So let's relaunch, then we see. So if you're watching our video and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So I'll go to departments, folders. I'll say active folders. Then I'll do new folder. Then here I'll say HR. I'll do here HR policies. Then you can see, if I say add, you can see our HR policy has been added. And it's actually the main folder. You see, we don't have the parent folder here. But now you can add a subfolder. So you can say new, and you can say here HR policy 2020. Then here we'll say HR policies 2020. And we can say it's fall under these HR policies. So we say add. We see now HR policies 2020 is actually a subfolder for this one. We can also add another one. We say HR 2021. Say HR policies 2021, and we say it's part of HR policies. So you can see we have that. Assuming we will also want to add another parent. So you see this is selected. We don't want this to be automatically selected. So we can come back to our folders and create. Then we have this here. So I'll say option. I'll say option value. I'll put empty, and I'll do that. Then I'll say select parent folder. Select parent folder. So if I refresh, you see it's not selected. So So we can come back here and say now, we say project, say projects. This is projects. Then you say this is project files. Then this is a parent folder, so we don't need to select a parent folder here. So if I just say add, you can see project files it's actually a parent folder because it doesn't have a parent folder here. Then you can say here add new. Then you say project 2020. I say here project. Then you can say here project files 2020. Then you can select the project files. If I add, then you can see I have my project files 2020 and that. So we've been able to add the folders, and we've been able to add clients, we've been able to add departments, and I think we are moving on well. So tomorrow I'll be showing you how we can now start adding documents, or even we start with the audit trail. So we'll see where we are going to start. So if you haven't subscribed and you like what you're doing, subscribe, comment down below, and see you in our next episode. Stay safe.